All right. It is just about 6 o'clock. It's going to tick over here in just a second, so we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning, or good evening, everybody. Welcome to the regular meeting of the City of Desert Hot Springs Public Safety Commission for Thursday, January 12th, 2023, the first meeting of the year. And so we're going to call the meeting to order. And can I get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Lozano? Commissioner Eastman?
Here.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Here.
Vice Chair Muse? And Chair Meyer?
Here. Okay. Move on to the, and we do have a quorum, so we'll go ahead and move forward. Let's move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Ken, will you lead us in that, please? Sir. Thank you.
Please stand and face the flag. Cover your heart if you wish. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Approval of the agenda. So if I get you to both look at the agenda real quick, and if we're good with the agenda, I need a motion to approve.
I'll move we approve the agenda.
Okay. So we have a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. Dan, do we need a vote?
We should.
Okay, let's do it. Oh, you guys want to hit the, there's the move. Lee, can you hit the button for seconding? See up there, it's a green one, it says second. Thank you. There we go.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. All right, same thing for the minutes, please. If you've read the minutes and you're comfortable with them, we need a motion to approve them and a motion to second on it. Look okay to you?
I'll move we approve the minutes.
Okay. There we go. Can we get a second, Lee, from you?
No, I second it.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is, sorry.
Okay. We'll vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Awesome. Okay, good deal. Thank you, guys. Public comments. Do we have any cards, or
We have none.
we have none? You guys are good? Okay. All right. Since we don't have any public comment requests, then we will skip reading all of that, and we will move right on to item number 1, presentations. Illuminated traffic signs presentation from Jilleen Ferris. This was placed on the agenda at the request of Commissioner Eastman. So, Jilleen?
Okay, I was not aware that this was a presentation. I was here to answer questions, so
Okay.
I don't actually have a presentation. So
No.
if anyone has any questions or anything, I'm here
That's
to
fine.
answer.
Lee, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, I brought this up. The question I have is why what I'm trying to say is we need some more traffic signs, stop signs with illuminated solar. And especially the one at Two Bunch Palms and Little Morongo. That's about the worst one. I'm sure there's other ones around. I'm just kind of wondering why we can't get something done there. And the other ones are different areas that are dark like that, especially if you're heading south on Two Bunch. Excuse my voice because I've got a cold.
Okay.
But if we're heading south on Two Bunch or on a Little Morongo, you just can't see it at all. And it's just a bad spot. And years ago, we had a motorcycle accident because we didn't even have stop signs there at one time. Then we had a death on a motorcycle, and they put stop signs up. So that was the beginning. But now it's just dark there. And I've had complaints, people have talked to me about it, especially the elderly. And they can't see very well, and they go down there, and I do the same thing. I drive it. But when I saw you had the one up there on Pearson, I went, wow, that really looks good. And that made me think about the one down there in Two Bunch. So my question is why we can't put one down there?
So I think the biggest thing is cost. Those things are very expensive. Back in 2020, when we installed the ones on Pearson and Little Morongo, we got quotes from $15,000 to $24,000 in response to our RFP per intersection. So that was 3 years ago. So if you factor in higher prevailing wages and inflation, we're probably between $20,000 and $30,000 per intersection. And the cost to replace those, if they were to get damaged, is $5,000 to $8,000. Whereas, the reflective Caltrans type of stop signs are about $115 to $125 to replace. And those are one of the number one signs that get knocked down. And also, hasn't been any reported, or very many reported accidents at Little Morongo and Two Bunch. I know that there may have been several accidents, but based upon the reports, when I did the run today, it was like one accident since 2017. So it's not something that's necessarily warranted for that high of a cost.
Well, I wasn't looking at the cost of it. I was looking at the safety factor. That's why I brought it up. I mean, I understand it costs money, but I'm talking about a safety factor. So now what you're saying is somebody gets killed there, then we'll get stop signs. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that some of the studies that we've seen hasn't shown that they actually help prevent accidents.
Well, that's about all I can say to it. I know if we can't get them, we can't get them, but that's there it is. Anybody else want someone to say? Go ahead.
Ken, want to add anything?
Well, just a quick question. You mentioned the cost. What is the cost of an illuminated traffic sign such as the one we're describing here compared to the cost of a full-blown traffic light?
Oh, traffic signals are like, 400,000 plus.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's definitely costly.
So it's a fraction of the cost. Okay. And the other question, I know that what's coming is a four-way stop. I believe it's supposed to be at Palm and 12th. And have you considered illuminated traffic signs for that intersection?
I can look into that and see.
Okay, well, that's all I have at the moment.
No, it's just, I'm surprised it's only been once since 2017. So that's the proper
That's the
way to use
data
that
that-
traffic data. Yeah, that's the proper way to use it. So, based upon that, of course, everyone will second guess if we ever do have an accident there, and but that's always going to happen. So, but I don't know. Maybe in next year's budget we look at a couple potential future problem. Maybe we drop a couple in there just to get ahead of the curve, if you know what I mean. So,
Yeah.
And 12's going to be a four-way stop sign with the dip.
Yes, that's my understanding. It's one of the pieces of information I gleaned from attending the State of the City. It was Mayor Mattis that said that.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting how they engineer that. So go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming in and talking about it. I mean, it's not your fault, but that's where it is where it is. I think it's a safety factor, and that's why I brought it up. I think
Understood.
it comes under our purview. But what can I say? If they can't get them up there, I wish they would look into it at least somewhere along the line when you're putting it in line items and say stop signs illuminated. I can understand why they cost so much. I mean, it's a stop sign with illuminated, and it's solar.
Solar, it's the solar.
Really? Wow. Okay, well, thank you very much for coming in.
Absolutely.
I appreciate your time.
Of course.
Okay. Anything else for Jilleen?
Well, this might be for her. There's one final thought on the whole thing.
I'm trying. I'm trying, right?
No, it's all good.
Just one final thought. We understand, we've had citizens come here asking for stop signs, illuminated or whatever, at various intersections in the city. And they've each had their cause for, bringing it to our attention. I understand there is a state protocol that has to be followed when you request a stop sign. Do you know anything about that? Can you illuminate us as to exactly what that procedure is?
Yeah, so when you request a stop sign, we have to do a stop sign warrant analysis. And so it's basically analysis that takes into account the line of sight at an intersection. It takes into account the amount of traffic incidents that have been reported. Again, if it wasn't reported, then it's not data that we can utilize. It has to be something that's reported. And also speed limits and stuff around the curves and stuff like that. So it takes into account all these different factors and then determines whether a stop sign is warranted. So if a stop sign is warranted, and, we do a lot of them, we do get requests for them, and so we'll send it off to our consultant, and a lot of the times it comes back not being warranted, and especially if there's a stop sign within a close proximity, then that can be another reason why it's not warranted. So sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't, but that's the process that we have to go through in order to install one.
Okay, thank you very much for that
Absolutely.
explanation. Appreciate it.
So which now leads me to a question, thanks, Ken, is obviously we do all this for liability purposes for the city,
Correct.
right? So if the report comes back and says, we don't recommend a sign there, and then we put a sign there, then do we incur liability with that?
Absolutely,
Okay,
yes.
thank you. I just want to make sure that got out there, so everyone doesn't think we're just trying to cut money and save money. There are other reasons why. So, okay, cool. Anything else? No? Great, thank you, Jilleen.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on to administrative reports. Item number 2, Code Compliance Monthly Report. Christina.
Good evening. So for the month of December, keep in mind it's kind of a short month for us. We did a total number of 50 service requests. We completed 158 inspections. 34 courtesy notice of violations were issued and 11 citations totaling $8,200. We have started the vacation rental enforcement program. So it's comprised of an officer and a code compliance technician. And so we've been able to successfully go out and start inspecting those properties, both externally and internally. And we've also been able to successfully get some of those properties that were not once legal vacation rentals permitted and paying delinquent transient occupancy tax. So big win for us.
Okay, questions for Christina? No? Ken?
With regards to the short-term vacation rental violation, were you utilizing the services of I guess there's a private security firm that assists you in going out and making sure the municipal code is adhered to and make you aware of any violations, whether the person's on scene or not?
Yeah, so they're sort of an external component of that vacation rental compliance unit. We are currently using them. They operate from Thursday through Sunday from about 7 p.m. to about 4 a.m. And mainly what they're doing is going out to the vacation rentals that are legal and ensuring that they are compliant. They will also respond to hotline complaints.
Okay. I think I mentioned it at the last meeting that I was in attendance, that it would be interesting to have them come, that private firm that's under contract, and have them explain a little more clarity exactly what it is they're doing, to see if there's any recommendations we can make at the council for expanding, lengthening the contract or whatever. But it'd be nice to have them come here and do a short little show and tell on their background.
Sure.
And
Yeah, I can
their
request
history.
that.
Okay, I think that's all I have.
Okay, cool. Yep, I didn't have anything for Christina, just noticing that, projects are moving along and things are getting done, so we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay. It's going to be an early night, huh? All right, let's move on to the fire department report. Chief Beverlin.
Good evening. On behalf of Chief Beverlin and Chief Weiser, I'd like to thank you for having an opportunity to speak tonight. Engine 37 responded to 479 responses in the month of December, average of about 16 runs a day. The engine still remains the busiest single resource in Riverside County. We're averaging a response time of under 5 minutes, over 50% of those calls. We had 385 medical responses, 3 residential fires, 29 traffic collisions, miscellaneous other calls. Most recent incident that we had was at the corner of Pearson and Indian Canyon the other night. There's a ranch property that's on the northeast corner that we had a structure fire in, about 1,000 square foot structure in the middle of the night. We were able to contain that pretty quickly without any extension to the adjacent structure or the wildland. Any questions?
Questions for the chief?
No, I don't have any.
Okay. Let's see. We have the statistics for December, and we have the statistics, excuse me, for the final quarter of 2022.
Yes, sir.
Would there be a way we could compile the statistics for the entirety of 2022?
Yeah, that should be able to be.
And it'd be nice to look at that, especially in the light of how busy Station 37 is. You know, that's
I'll pass that along to Chief Beverlin and let him know that you've requested that.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. There's a section regarding the mutual aid given versus mutual aid received. Now, when we give mutual aid, that's when our apparatus respond outside of Desert Hot Springs to assist other jurisdictions.
Correct.
And when we receive mutual aid, that's when other jurisdictions respond into Desert Hot Springs
That would be correct.
to help us out, correct? Okay. All right, that's all I've got right now, Chief. Thank you.
Just as a sidelight, been here all this time, remember, hit the button. Once we get the squad, that's going to reduce some of that run on 37, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm still looking forward to that.
And obviously with the addition of Station 98, that'll reduce the numbers even greater, so
Yeah.
really share that workload among the three resources a little more evenly.
Yeah, and this morning I saw the battalion chief coming in, Code 3, and a couple other engines, so,
That would have been me. We had a residential structure fire on Kuya this morning.
okay. Yeah, so we had aid coming in, huh? Mutual aid coming in. So, yeah.
Apparently it's a common occurrence. It
Yeah.
happens quite a bit.
All right, any other questions for the chief? No?
No,
We're good?
sir.
Okay, cool. Thank you, chief. All right, move to the police department monthly report. Chief Shaw?
Thank you. Good evening. Okay, let's talk about some patrol stats still for the month of December. December was 2,945 calls for service for the month. Officers had 85 arrests and issued 399 citations for the month of December. Final year tallies, just over 34,000 calls for the year. Just about 1,600 citations and 874 arrests. So when I'm talking about the patrol stats and the crime stats with you, since it was brought up just a couple minutes ago, hopefully by next meeting we should have some year-end stats for all of 2022. When we talk about the crime stats, and I'll talk more about it next month, the first half of the year is not an apples-to-apples comparison to the second half because it was UCR reporting versus NIVERS reporting. And so 2023, this will be our first full year. We're just reporting NIVERS, no more UCR. So what we'll see for 2023, we anticipate we will see a jump in numbers. Doesn't mean there's necessarily a jump in crime, but because of the way it's reported and the crimes are broken down, we'll see an increase in numbers, but I'll give you more explanation as we go along in that. For the crime stats for the month of December, no homicides. We did finish up the year with 7 homicides. It's one more than we had last year, but there was a caveat to a couple of those homicides. There's a couple that, one was an unfortunate child abuse case where the child about a month later unfortunately died due to their injuries, and we did end up filing homicide charges against, it was the father that did that on that. And then there was another one, there was a murder-suicide, unfortunately, where a son shot his mother and then killed himself. So those 2 cases are ones that we put them in our stats as counting as homicides, and they're unfortunate instances, but kind of not typical to what, when we say a homicide, you think of maybe like a shooting on the street or something like that, where there's something like that. So just as violent, but just some backstories to those. We did see for the month, our aggravated assaults, 38 for the month of December. A little bit high than what we've seen the last in November and the rest of the months. But again, it's NIVERS reporting, so the way they're looking at that and grabbing that information is not unusual that we're seeing that. Burglaries about 16, and then still with our vehicle thefts, 38 which, again, that seems to be pretty average that we've seen each month. We're still having trouble with these vehicle burglary thefts. Still nothing that indicates it's necessarily rings taking vehicles and taking them down to Mexico or selling them in other areas, but the most common one is just crimes of opportunity, folks taking cars out for joyrides, teenagers to young adults taking cars out for joyrides, dumping them in the city or in neighboring cities with a recovery within a few days to a week and stuff. So just a reminder, folks, lock up your cars, park them in lit areas. Don't make yourself an easy victim. Unfortunately, sometimes that happens, but there's things that folks can do to not make themselves a target. Goings on in the department, we brought on a new officer. We have actually two. We have one officer in the academy. He started right before Christmas time, so he's about 3 weeks into the academy. This is one that we're sponsoring through the academy. So far so good. 3 weeks in, he's still there. I think they've had about 10 folks drop from the academy, and he's not one of them. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. I know Commander Chang went out and visited him yesterday, just let him know, hey, we're here. When you're in the academy, you can kind of feel like you're on a desert island with those TOs around you and stuff like that, but he's hanging in there, so we're excited about that. And then we had, this is his third week, we had a new officer that started, he's in training right now with us, so we're at 27, so we still got to hit that 33 mark for our current budget staffing. We've got a couple folks that are going through backgrounds. I don't know if it was mentioned, I missed the last meeting, so I don't know if it was mentioned last meeting. The city did. We did contract with Epic Recruiting, so we're really excited about that. It's a 2-year contract with an actual recruiting company. They came out 2 weeks ago, did an initial round of interviews, interviewed almost everybody in the police department. They'll be back out on February 2nd, and then again at the end of February, shooting some videos, making some posters and flyers, setting up a website specifically to the police department, and then they do all their analytics on specific targets that they're going to be pushing that information out to, and monitoring it and giving us that feedback on if we're reaching out to the right population or what we need to do to adjust it and stuff that's above my level of knowledge when it comes to computers and that type of thing. But we're excited to do something different than just NeoGov or going to the colleges and stuff like that. So this is giving us an opportunity to expand a little bit and hopefully be access, but it's a real good company that's going to be assisting us, so we're excited about that. Dispatch, exciting news on dispatch. We're close. We were just told today, January 25th is the anticipated date to flip the switch. So they're finishing up those last couple pieces that they needed to fix up with the cloud system and everybody be able to talk to each other. So we're being told January 25th. So fingers crossed that that's what it's going to be. Our dispatchers are still working out of Cat City. They're doing a great job. We are down. We did lose 2 dispatchers. Unfortunately, one the job wasn't for him. It's one of our folks that came with no experience, and it wasn't what they thought it would be. And then the same with the second one. But we did have and do have a couple folks that we were working on and keeping them kind of in our back pocket and stuff like that. So we're still looking good staffing-wise, and we expect to be fully staffed, even though we lost those 2, but have 2 more in place by the time we go live on the 25th. So we're excited about that, looking forward to that. Some construction update. They finished the remodel in the front lobby area in our records division and our officers report room and our watch commander's office. So new desks, new cubicles, some new evidence lockers, fresh paint, fresh flooring, some TV screens that offer them to view all the cameras throughout the city, and then also view our Alliance system that shows the radios, the calls for service and stuff like that. So it looks really good. It's a nice, it looks like a real professional police department over there. It's a nice upgrade. Next step is end of this month, next month, should be going out for RFP for the new building that'll be next door to us, as well as the fire station, and then the perimeter wall that's going to be around the entire public safety campus. And then there's additional tenant improvements that'll be done at the back of the current police station. So Hopefully by May or June, we'll see some groundbreaking on that project and get that last piece put together and stuff. So, but that's moving forward, so we're excited with that. I know animal control's not on the calendar for today, but I'll give you some information on animal control. We're struggling. You know, I'll be honest with you, we're struggling over there. Stephanie's over there. We are fortunate that Monday we were able to bring on a new animal control officer. So he started on Monday. Officer Van Wolven is still out. If you recall, he was out on injury, on a personal injury. We still anticipate probably at least two more months. He's doing well. He's home recovering, which is good. We anticipate a full recovery, but we're probably looking at least 2 months before we get him back in. So Stephanie, as you know, has been working some modified hours. And now with this new officer, we didn't want to let him go, so we kind of brought him in, and Stephanie's just making it work and getting him trained up and stuff like that. So we have a couple more animal control officers that we have going through backgrounds. So we're getting her some help there. It's happening, but you know, it's a little slow. The animals were still just over capacity, like every shelter throughout the Coachella Valley and the state were over capacity. For the month of December, they brought in 27 intakes. They had 8 returned to owners and 15 that were sent to rescue. But for the year total, they brought in 240 animals and 156 either through rescue or adoptions or passed away. We were able to account for, but it's still a lot of dogs that, and it's mostly dogs. There's some cats and some other animals, but it's 99% it's dogs. So we've really had to limit, and with the public, I know they've been calling us, and we try and tell them every time. We really have to try and limit taking in animals, just because we don't have the space for them, and it's not safe. It's not safe for the animals that are there, and it's not safe for Stephanie or anybody else working out there when you have that many dogs specifically. We have some of them are 2 and 3 to a kennel. It's not healthy for the dogs. Again, it's not safe for those folks that are there. We still have temp workers that are there every single day, cleaning the kennels. Every single animal gets exercised twice a day. So we're fortunate that we're able to do that. And Stephanie's working hard at just finding adoptions and getting them back to owners and stuff. I would just push out again, chip your pets. Come by, we've got specials, we'll make it work. It's very inexpensive to get your pet chipped. I picked up the city manager saw a small dog running on Palm Drive yesterday, so I went out and helped him, and we got it. Small, cute little dog, took it to animal control. Stephanie checked it, had a chip, so we were able to find an owner. So it's that easy. You're not going to get in trouble with us. If the animal needs to be registered and stuff like that, Stephanie will get that taken care of for folks and work with them and stuff. So we just ask folks to help us with this. If we can't take a dog in, Stephanie will let them know, and she'll let them know why. It's not that we don't want to. It's just we just are so over capacity that we can't do it. So things are turning. We'll get there, but it's just going to take a little time on that. So I think that's all I have. But happy to answer any questions.
Questions for the chief?
You actually answered all the questions I might have had. You did an excellent report. How are we doing with the motor officers, by the way?
Yeah, funny you asked. We're just this week we've been looking at that. So we did do interviews for motor officers. We have 2 officers that were selected to be our motor officers. We are in the process. So to become a motor officer, the next step now is they have to attend a motor academy, a post-approved motor academy. Most of them are 2 to 3 weeks. One of the big things with the academy is you used to be able to, but it's really hard right now. In fact, we haven't found any that supply the motorcycle for the officer to use in the academy. So we discussed this week. We have 2 options. Now, obviously, we have 2 motorcycles, but they're good working motorcycles. And the last thing we want to do is have an officer that's never been through a motor academy take it and use that in the motor academy, because they're going to crash, they're going to mess up the bike. And typically what departments do is if they have a bike that they're getting ready to recycle out because of mileage, they'll keep those and use those as training bikes or spare bikes. So we're looking at that. We're looking at if any department has a bike or 2 for sale or through BMW. We want to get a BMW. The bike that the officer is going to ride is the one we want them training on. Or we do one of our bikes. It's getting close on miles, so we're looking at the cost of buying a new bike. And then the bikes that's higher up in miles, cycling that into a training bike, so we can get these officers into the academy and get them trained and out on the street. So just this week, we were talking about and looking at that, so we're in the process of doing that.
I noticed you have a lot of citations there, December. They were way up, so.
We are.
At least you're out there doing it.
Yeah, they still are. You know, we've been pushing the officers to get out there and be proactive, and in the month of December, they really hit it. And
Well, that's
they
good.
were-
I'm glad
they
to
went
hear
way up
that.
and
I know
stuff.
it's tough, but
So,
boy, it's bad out there.
yeah, it's look, we need folks to be responsible for their driving, and especially after daylight saving, when it gets dark
Yeah.
so early and stuff like that.
It's hard to be proactive out there, I know that,
Yeah.
with other things going on.
Yeah, they
But
find the time.
someday we'll
Yeah.
get there, we can be proactive with our motor officers and stuff. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we are too, so we'll get there.
Yeah, good
get there,
report,
yeah.
Chief. Thank you.
Ken?
Well, I missed the last meeting as well. I did have the opportunity to view the staffing report for, Desert Hot Springs Police and what could be done to perhaps expand it. I was wondering if that, there was discussion as to returning that report to you for a little revision, in light of the statistics that were provided, maybe that they could be looked at and further enhanced and things. Has that come across your desk yet?
Yeah, I look at it weekly, and I think it was, I know Commander Chang did the report, because I wasn't here last meeting. So obviously, the first goal is, our current budget staffing is 33 officers. My priority and the chief's priority is patrol. We got to have officers out there to handle the calls for service, and that's the priority. So at 26, 27 that we're at right now, if we can get to that 33 mark, that takes care of my patrol. That's what I need for patrol staffing, so I can have officers on a shift, I can have a mid-shift officer. If somebody calls off sick, I'm not necessarily having to call someone on their day off and bring them in to cover that shift. Once I get to that point, then I'm looking at, okay, now it gives me an opportunity to put some specialized teams out there to do some quality of life, proactive work, to handle some of these off. So my goal is to put a set team out, a special enforcement team out, once I get to that 33 point. What I would like is to have 4 officers and a sergeant on that set team, and that's a team that they can work. They'll have set days, but that can change depending on what's going on. If there's a crime surge or something like that, or if there's quality of life issues, the homeless issues and stuff like that, they can really focus in on that and relieve that from the patrol officers. So the patrol officers can focus on the calls for service, and then I can have them focusing more on that. So those are my first goals, is the 6 or 7 that I need for the 33, and then some sort of specialized enforcement team. And again, I look at a team like that with like 4 officers. I prefer, if it's a team like that, they work 2 officers to a unit, and then obviously a supervisor out there assisting them. And in some of the stuff that they would do, the proactive stuff they would do, especially if it's a crime series that they're doing, maybe some stakeouts or something like that, 4 officers is really what's needed to be effective and do that type of work. So that's my goal.
I think that's it for the moment.
So, for Commander Chang, COD starting their modular academy on Saturday, the 28th of January. So we're going to have both modules. Not a lot of students in each module, but if he wants to schedule something maybe a couple weeks in or something, we can
Yes.
give him a Saturday when both modules will be there on the campus at the same time. So we're happy to do that for him at College of the Desert.
Absolutely.
So, and then the only other question I got is the budget. How'd we do?
Yeah, we did. So we are, right now, so we're halfway through our year. Police department's at 57%. A little bit higher. We've been hit with some costs. We had to redo the roof, some air condition issues and stuff like that. But we're doing okay. So 57% is where we're at right now for the PD, and animal control, we're at 40%, which is pretty typical for this time of year with animal control.
Well, yeah, you've got a lot of cost savings on your class 1.
We
so,
do.
Yeah.
We do.
Okay. All righty. Yeah, yeah, I would hope that you'd be able to get that staff back up at animal control. You've got the right idea, you've got the right plan, you've got the right concept. Just need some bodies to do it.
Yeah, I think we'll get there. And typically, Thanksgiving through Christmas, New Year's, it's typical that the applications go down, that type of thing. And then after the new year, you start seeing those go up after the holidays, and we're starting to see that. So we're still getting apps, which is good. We haven't been to a point where we haven't got any apps. So that's good, and we're starting to see that increase. So I think we'll get there. It's just time consuming, takes a little time, but we'll get there.
Good deal. All right, well, we moved to that part of the agenda where it's commissioner reports. Ken, you want to start?
Well, in light of recent events, I would go ahead and I would say that we've illustrated once again the need for our public to take the time out and consider acquiring CPR skills. We've had people on either side of the country that are rather high profile that have, if it weren't for CPR and early defibrillation being immediately available, we may be talking about both of them in the past tense. One of them is going through a remarkable recovery, and the other person's status is pending because it was a very recent event. But CPR is a very easy skill to learn. It's inexpensive to learn it. There's numerous avenues to acquire the skills. The people who work with the chiefs that are present in this room can point you in the right direction if you need them. And you're going to assist the first responders in performing our job. You don't have to be licensed and qualified to drive a vehicle with red lights and siren to be able to save a life. So if there's anyone that's watching this meeting or listening to this meeting, I would admonish you I wouldn't admonish you, but I'd advise you, if you haven't made a New Year's resolution yet, to resolve to learn CPR skills and become proficient at it. And I'm going to hold on the future goals until I know there's a future. And that's all I got to say.
Okay, Ken, thank you. Lee, you got anything?
Yeah, I just do. I just want to say that this is my last night. I'm going to resign my position here. It's been a while. I've been here, I guess, 12 years. Okay, this has not been my best year. I haven't felt too well. A lot of problems, but the point is, it's been 12 years. I was 2012. I think Yvonne Parks nominated me. After that, she left as a mayor, and then for 10 more years, Jan Pye nominated me. Every time, God bless her. But it's just a point where I'm just kind of, getting long of tooth. I think it's time for some younger people to come in here, some new blood, and some new ideas. And it's a great board, and I think Councilman Pye is about ready to appoint somebody for probably next month. You'll have him, so my position won't be closed. There'll be somebody here, but this is kind of my last night, and I wish everybody was here because I did want to say goodbye to everybody, but that's just the way it is. It's been 12 years, and I'm not young anymore, so you need some younger people. And I'll find something else to do. But that's just the way it is. I just want to let you know that. And you guys will have a nice year. It's been a great commission. I'm glad to work with you. And you'll do fine. You've got good people here. And I'm sure that Councilwoman Pye will put somebody in here that you can work with because she'll pick a good person. I know she will. So that's all I want to say. So this is my adios.
Well, congratulations, Lee, and I'm going to make a joke, so nobody get upset, but I don't think we're going to miss you as much as we're going to miss Barbara's advice that she keeps whispering in your ear, because we know who the true genius in the Eastman family is. It's Barbara. So
she puts up next to her little speech.
Yeah. so.
Well, no, we'll be back. We'll drive you crazy.
Well, no, I got to say, though, the 8 years I've been on, obviously we've been together for the 8 years, and you've been a rock, you're always that steady presence and that steady piece of wisdom, steady rock of wisdom there. And the commission's going to miss you. So,
11 years is a long time.
yeah, it's a long time.
That's just, it's time that we get some new blood in here. And it's just the way it is. But I'll miss you guys.
Well, the sentiment goes both ways. I'm the baby on the block, except for, Mr. Muse has been in the city loop longer than I have. So despite him coming to the commission lately, I want to appreciate your instruction and your patience and your guidance and your patience again as I find my way through this maze that we call public service up here in the
We all had to
commission.
do that.
And not only will we miss your presence, but don't be surprised if we find you on the street and run at you for a minute and ask you for a quick question or for
Well, that's
some further
okay.
advice, because
I've been
I can't
chairman
do
for twice. I think I've been co-chair or vice chairman a couple times. I've done that. When I first took this job, I took it for 1 year, and my two buddies all left, went somewhere else. The other jobs were on them. They said, "You've got it. You're going to be the chairman next year." I went, "What?" So, I mean, that's how you learn. Away you go. So you're doing a great job. All of you are. And Walt, I can't, you hang in there every year, and you do an outstanding job. And I appreciate that. You guys are going to be back, and I don't know how long you'll be here, but if you make it 11 years, God bless you. So thank you very much. That's it.
All right. Well, keeping with that theme of the board getting some new blood, I was called this morning by Councilman Gardner, who's my appointing councilman, and he advised me he's not renewing my appointment. So this will be my last night too. And Councilman Gardner was terrific. We had a great phone call. He explained that for the exact same reason. I've been here 8 years.
Wow, it has been 8 years.
It has been 8 years, yeah. So when I came here, I think I still had like dark hair and no, there were other reasons for that. But yeah, I agree with Councilman Gardner's reasons. It's time for some new people to jump up on and serve. I guess the city had some applicants, which is a good thing. And if you have new applicants, it's a good thing to go ahead and move on with them. So this will be my last night too. I just wanted to say thank you to Joe and Rocky McKee. Joe McKee was the first council person to appoint me. Joe and I did not always agree on things, but Joe was an awesome person, and Rocky too. I would spend a lot of time with Joe and Rocky discussing things and bouncing ideas and things like that. And so thank you to Joe and Rocky, and they're back in Chicago right now. But thank you to them for trusting me and giving me the opportunity. Thank you to Councilman Gardner for renewing me for several go-rounds. He didn't know me from Adam, and he still trusted me to come up here and work with all of you. My time of service here has been very blessed because of the support from the two council people who appointed me, but also due to my peers now and in the past. I've worked with some really tremendously great people: Cliff Levy, Jeff Bowman, Donna, obviously. Just some really great people have been up on this dais with us, and I got to say one thing that's been great about every single person on here. I'm pretty sure every single person, their politics was never an issue with this group. For the 8 years I've been on it, which has been that's a difficult thing to do, and I got to hand it to my peers who were up here. They were terrific, and when we were having discussions, it wasn't about politics. It was about how do we solve a problem, or how do we support city staff the best, or how do we get a new medic squad. Thank you. 8 years. I didn't know it took me 8 years to do it, but it took us 8 years to do it. But yeah, to do something like that. So thank you to them, city staff. You guys have been great for the 8 years. I remember when I first got here, we didn't have Christina. We had like a contract service, and they couldn't get anything done because they took 8 hours of paperwork for every house. And Cliff Levy pushing and pushing and pushing to get you a mobile thing that you could actually do your work on. And Cliff finally got it, and then he left.
True.
And so when we came up with ideas, city staff they weren't just responsive to what we suggested or recommended. They took those ideas and they ran with them. And I mean, so any success the commission has had over the past 8 to 12 years while Lee and I have been on it is, a lot of it's been due to city staff paying attention, listening, and then running with what we suggested. And, most people don't realize that this commission has zero power. We got zero power. All we can do are make recommendations. So thank you to the city staff. They've been great. My family's been terrific. My wife has to hold dinner one Thursday night every night, and she's at home waiting for me now. So she knows that that tonight's my last night. So she's there. But I just want to do some accomplishments that we did during the last few years. One was, and Lee will remember this, settling the police versus sheriff issue. That took us almost a year, but once again, city staff popped up. We kept asking for an apples versus oranges report. We finally got it. City staff did a great job on that, and we were able to make a great decision. And we still have a great police department. We didn't go with the sheriff, even though I was with the sheriff's department for 23 years. We've been able to control our costs and keep the sheriff's and keep the city budget on track. That was the other thing we did, is we helped to bring the public safety budgets under control and create some fiscal stability for the city. When we almost went broke in 2012, when we broke down the budgets, we found what the problem was. We had a $6 million budget for the police department, and they were spending $9 million a year.
I remember we had,
Yeah, I remember
we had
that.
14 police officers.
Yeah, but we were spending $9 million a year,
Yeah.
and you can't do that. And that's why every meeting we ask, and it's not picking on the police department, but they are the biggest chunk out of the budget. And, and it's just the way they are, and they're expensive. But as long as they stay on budget, the city stays on budget, and that's very important. The commission started the process of identifying and implementing the safety improvements along the Palm Drive corridor. And remember, we had people coming here complaining about how many people were getting hit by cars. And we came up with the recommendation that the city do a traffic study on the Palm Drive corridor. As usual, city staff didn't just take that recommendation, they took it and ran with it. And not only did they do the traffic study on Palm, but they did one on Pearson at the same time. And they didn't just end there with a study, they actually implemented that and found grant funding, I think, that took care of, like 2/3 of the cost or something. So a lot of the improvements you saw there were staff taking a recommendation from the commission and running with it. We have our own animal control. I remember sitting here on meetings and watching people, person after person come in and complain about the county animal control.
Yes.
Lee, you remember those. Ken, you weren't here. We took care of it before you got here. But one of the things is we put together a presentation for a recommendation to go to our own animal control. We were able to show it would not exactly be cheaper, but it would be better service for both the citizens and the animals. And we could do it in-house. And that was where Joe McKee then started working with community members and came up with the special model that our animal control. I don't think the other ones use the same model we use. So, but it's, as long as we have people working there, it's successful. So it's a great model. And the last thing, of course, was the approval of the new medic squad for the fire department. We have an increased staffing in our fire department for the entire, I've lived here 37 years. My wife's been here her whole life, and we've never increased the fire service in over 50 years. So, yeah, we were able to, I think, working with city staff, once again, we were able to find it and get it done. And so when I see that squad rolling down the street, I'm going to be very, very happy.
Well, that's the thing I fought for, that Walt with that
Yeah.
squad.
Yep.
I think they're working on it. I think they're going to get it done.
Yeah.
But
I know they
tried.
are. Yeah. Yeah.
And they're going to get it sooner or later, I'm sure.
Yeah, so it's been a great 8 years. Thank you so much, everybody. The only thing I would ask, Ken, since you may be the lone man standing, I hope.
Yeah.
Well, I hope Donna and Brian get to stay
Yeah,
too.
we're the two
Yeah, but is that the commission keep working with the police department? I know you just want to get to 23 or 33, Chief, but my hope is that once you get to 33, the city finds a way to fund 4 or 5 more officers.
That's right.
And then you have that special team on top of your staffing. And then I hope they fund another 6 or 7 officers which is what we talked about. I'm sure you watched last meeting. And to bump you from 2 to 3, because having 1986 staffing levels in 2023 is not acceptable. Not acceptable in any way, shape, or form. It just, we've added a high school, we've added, 2 middle school, or a middle school, we've added 2 elementary schools, and to have police service be the same as it was in 1986 is not acceptable. So, thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was wonderful.
I want to thank the city council too, that's done a wonderful job.
Yeah, they've been
Because they've got
very
a good
supportive
city
of us.
council, and they've listened to stuff and got things done. The city's really growing. They're doing a great job. Our staff is outstanding. All these people here work hard every day.
Yeah.
So it's the city council has really got a good city council now, and I hope they just keep it up. And I'll still be here. You'll still be here.
Yeah, I'm not
Working,
going
man.
anywhere, so
You're stuck.
Well, we'll see about that. I'll get back to you in about a week or two and let you know how it goes.
Yeah, I have a feeling you're still going to be here, Ken. So with that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All right. We don't need a vote, Dan. We're good. Okay. The meeting's adjourned. Good night, everybody.